She just took a pregnancy test and it's positive. Face with tears of joy. I'm so one and done pregnancy attempt. So I have been told strictly not to tell anyone about this, but my partner and I have been trying to get pregnant. We tried last month and I think we missed the window. So this month we tried again. It wasn't the best attempt. I kind of messed up by being too excited. We just laughed about it and assumed it wouldn't work. She just took a pregnancy test and it's positive. Face with tears of joy. I'm so excited. We already have a 4.5-year-old and I can't wait to tell him. Unfortunately, our very first pregnant ended in a miscarriage very early on, so we are being super careful about telling anyone. We will wait until week 12 and get an early ultrasound again and then tell everyone. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Hey, long-time lurker here. Never thought I'd post here though, but Mom and her boyfriend ruined my dad's reputation and family income for no reason. Hey, long-time lurker here. Never thought I'd post here though, but here we are. So, this story starts about a month or two ago when my parents filed for divorce. Mom thinks dad is cheating, dad thinks mom is cheating, which she actually was. Dad stayed loyal, blah blah blah. Sad, but nothing I didn't think I couldn't handle. My mom leaves the house on and off until she finds a new place to live because my dad was kind enough to let her. She then proceeds to steal from my dad. Multiple times. She even somehow found her way into my dad's personal bank account and stole $200. She stole way more too, but I don't know how much. Then a few weeks pass and enters Mr. Homewrecker himself over a video call, who thinks I'm my dad. We look similar but I don't have a beard, and we sound completely different. Mr. Homewrecker threatens to kill my dad. Yeah, not a great start to meeting this guy who I'm pretty sure is my mom's boyfriend. I argue with him about this, then go up to my room. Then summer starts and I think everything is going better, until Mr. Homewrecker makes his triumphant return and accuses my dad of producing CP. Yeah, you heard that right. And because of this, my dad got put on unpaid leave from his job, which was our main source of income outside of disability checks. This is all my mom's fault and she has the gall to act like she did nothing wrong. End scene. I have two younger autistic brothers who will never be able to. My mom, 52F, and I, 21M, fight every day over what happens to my younger brothers in the future. I have two younger autistic brothers who will never be able to live independently. Their needs are different. One of my brothers can do basic stuff for himself without much issue, but he can't handle the big stuff and he needs reminders to do the basic stuff. My other brother needs way more attention and care and needs help with basic tasks. My mom has been doing it on her own since her husband, the dad of my brothers, became physically disabled 3 years ago. It was at that point she really started making me feel like I would need to let my brothers live with me when she can no longer take care of them. She has talked about how much they'll need me and I told her I would rather they live somewhere with people who know how to care for them and I can visit. But it's not enough for my mom and it leads to daily fights between us. Some days those are one-sided because I just don't answer the phone or reply to her texts, and since I no longer live with her it's easier to avoid. My mom said if I'm not willing to take over then she'll probably be dead before she can have time with her grandkids because she'll be exhausted and worn down and probably very sick. I asked her what grandkids and she looked at me like I was crazy because I always wanted to be a dad. I told her if my brothers are in my care then I won't be having kids because there is no way I could juggle all that or ask my future spouse to do it. My mom told me it was an awful way to look at it and I told her it's true. I said if she wants grandkids she needs to figure out a different way for my brothers to be cared for. And that led to even more anger and fights, both attempted and two-sided fights. It feels like we're very stuck in terms of our relationship. I feel bad for my mom and all she has to do, but I think she's also being very cruel about all of this and incredibly unrealistic to what life will look like if I take in my brothers. But I can't talk to her without her going crazy. Among the items missing was the acknowledgement section. The university made me write an acknowledgement in my thesis, so I did. A weary me was sitting in front of my laptop, staring at the requirements for submitting the PhD thesis to the university. I had finished the main text to the satisfaction of my two supervisors, and I just needed to check the nitty-gritty formatting requirements from the university. Among the items missing was the acknowledgement section. The university even made a big fuss out of it, stating that it was mandatory to thank everyone who has contributed to the success of the thesis. I couldn't help thinking about how bitter the journey was. It started well, I got a scholarship, performed well and had a great reputation in teaching, but it was a fallout after my supervisor retired due to unforeseen circumstances. Research funds dried out. The school scammed me of 10 grand from equipment purchase because of the errors of the administrative staff. They took away the only space I could use for research, which was just a desk, and left me figuring it out myself. In the end, I could only finish the whole research on my own from the cash I earned from escorting. It was a successful career, but that's another story. And then I needed to thank them in to not make myself look like an ungrateful brat. And I came up with an idea. Instead of writing a short note, I dialed my gratefulness to 11. Most other PhD students wrote 1 to 2 pages, and I made mine 3 pages long. I thanked almost everyone extensively, my supervisors, my family, my patrons, the student counselor, and even the flight school I attended, and mentioned the details of the support they gave me and what I learned from them. At the very end of the 3-page essay, I dropped a very dry paragraph acknowledging the university, thanking them for the wake-up call for my development into another career and giving me an experience to foster autonomy by doing my own maintenance works and sourcing own fundings. Now this PhD thesis has passed the final validation, and by university policy, this thesis will be forever publicly available in their library and online repository. And I am pretty sure a few of the juniors are going to have a look as a reference of how to write their acknowledgements even though they have zero interest in the body text. I'm proud to tell you I've been out for 3 days. Update: be blunt, am I, 29F, a bad partner to my wife, 32F? Original post: 84 days ago, I published a post and hundreds of you told me marriage was abusive. I've done the work, went to a therapist, read books on domestic violence and abuse, took notes down, opened up to my best friend. I'm proud to tell you I've been out for 3 days. It's fucking hard. I feel agitated, I can't really sleep, can't focus, and I must admit I miss her. I have those moments when I feel like I'm suffocating. But I'm pulling through, and staying no contact helps. I'll still need to go by some time to get some stuff. My brother offered to go with me, to make sure she didn't make it impossible for me to leave again. Leaving was chaotic. If you're interested about how it happened, it's a bit long, but it's all her. We had been arguing while walking our dogs. She didn't like that I thought fights are not healthy communication in a relationship. I think they show a lack of efficient communication. I could live with us having different opinions. She said she wanted to go back to couples therapy so our therapist would show me it is indeed healthy. I agreed to couples therapy. Then, it shifted to her being mad because I thought it was disrespectful when she would shout or scream at me. She said it couldn't be disrespectful because she didn't mean to. I pointed out that what felt disrespectful to me was my own mind to make, and that if she could process her anger when with clients or a boss, she should be able to do it with me. She disagreed, saying it's because she doesn't care about the rest of the world, but she's very touchy when it comes to our relationship. I implemented a boundary: if she screams, I'm out of the room. She said, okay, but first you need to let me finish my sentence. I disagreed because if you want to talk to me, maybe talk and don't scream. Woman tipping hand, light skin tone. She accused me of setting a disrespectful rule, that I was looking for an excuse to disrespect her. I couldn't show respect. In the meantime, I saw we had taken a wrong turn and were off track. I offered to go back, she refused, stormed away. I called, she didn't turn back. I screamed, pleading her to turn around. She didn't turn. It's only when I yelled "oh hey" to get her attention that she turned around and said, as long as you were disrespectful by screaming like that I don't want to see you, and left. I turned back and waited. Then went in her direction, screamed her name in the forest, panicked, ugly cried. I was afraid she'd get lost. I'm always the one who pays attention to signs. We didn't have any signal. I was scared because we came with my car, and what if I didn't find her afterwards? How would she manage to get home? And while having a panic attack about her, I realized I was done. She had decided to go her own way, leaving me there, and she knows being lost in the woods is one of my fears. I was getting worried about her, but she took her own decisions. It clicked, I would leave that day. When we got signal, she called. I said I'd pick her up, but I was done. Of course, she tried to justify herself. I was only trying to calm down, take some space. It's the same as when you go for a walk or a run. I wanted to calm to talk to you, like you like it, like you wanted. Well, I fucking tell you when I leave. And not when lost in the woods. I didn't take the bait, packed, took my dog and my cat while she was crying, begging on her knees, emptying my bag, blocking my way, blocking my car, etc. I stayed as collected as I could, but I had to threaten to call my brother because she wouldn't let me leave. I will never forget the desperation in her eyes, the way she clung to my car window as I drove away, running after the car. It was heartbreaking, honestly. A few minutes later, I burst into tears while driving because leaving was the hardest thing I had ever done. Leaving someone you love because they can't treat you right is the most painful experience I've had. I am proud of myself for choosing me, for going through the pain, for fighting every second since to stay focused on what is to come. I thought I'd feel happiness and relief. It's not there yet. But I'm making myself happy by doing everything I wasn't allowed to, wearing crop tops, subscribing to a Spotify account, playing video games for more than an hour, having an afternoon snack and an evening snack if I want to, cook what I want when I want, do the dishes when I want to, not just when I have free time. I want to thank every and each of you who took the time 84 days ago to tell me I was going through emotion abuse. You changed my life for the best, Redheart. I am basically an online bank teller. I argued with a mom whose son just had brain surgery. I am basically an online bank teller. I help with funds, cards, customer support, etc. This mom calls angry that her card isn't working. She goes into an aggressive rant, and while I'm trying to help her, she increasingly becomes condescending and mocking. Her card was closed because of suspected fraud, and she hadn't replied when communication was sent to ask her if the transactions were legitimate. So the card was closed by Visa. I tried to explain to her multiple times the situation, that the fraudsters actually took hundreds from her account. She continued to rant at me. And I get it, she was driving hours with her son who just got done with brain surgery, her cats were literally screaming, and when she needed gas the card was closed. That sounds like an awful situation. However, I told her that she had another card on file which was available. She didn't even realize it, so she tried it and it worked. She continued to berate me. So I started arguing with her. This isn't my fault. I'm trying to help you. I'm telling you why the card was closed for fraud, and they actually took money. I told her this was Visa, not the bank, who did this. And I told her to stop projecting her anger onto me. She eventually got quiet and the call finally ended. Part of me understands that her situation is horrible.